Hello, Rosie. How are we doing?
Hey, Balve. Yeah, I'm good, thanks. How are you doing?
Yeah, it's we were just speaking just before we started recording, and the weather here is. I know it's okay for you down there, but it's up here. It's awful.
Oh, luckily we're all right. Although actually the girls are a bit disappointed because they love jumping in puddles. So I think they'd quite like it if it was pouring today.
So just before we get started, quick disclaimer: I've known you. Well, we've known each other for how many years?
So we left uni 10 years ago. So 13 years we've known
30,
each other.
which is incredible, which is crazy. So I just wanted to. So I've done a bit of research on you, and
Hmm.
I just wanted to say some facts, and you can tell me if this is true or not.
Yeah,
Okay, just before we get cracking. So, you've got two of your own kids, is that correct?
that is correct.
You are married to your childhood sweetheart.
Yeah, I am. Who you've
Uh,
met.
yeah, I have, yeah. You're just finishing your PhD,
Yes, finally.
finally, and you was a surrogate mother, was it 2 years ago?
Yeah. No, so she's not even a year. She'll be a year next month.
Year next month. You've got two dogs.
Yep.
You're learning to play the drums, is that true?
I am, yeah, that is true.
And you are the CEO of a music and wellbeing social enterprise.
Yeah, that's right.
I'm exhausted just saying that.
I must admit, I feel the same listening to it. I think when you're in it, you don't notice so much how many plates you got spinning.
That's incredible. So you like, so obviously the world knows like inspiring people. So you got people like Nelson Mandela, Barack Obama, Jessica Anderson, and people like that. But I think you're the first person that I know who's genuinely inspiring, doing all the things that you're doing,
Oh, thank you very much.
which is incredible. So I think I wanted to get straight into this. So what is a music and social enterprise?
Yeah, so basically we're called a community interest company, which means you're a not-for-profit organization. So a lot of people think like we set out to not make a profit, but that's not the whole point. The whole point is that you do want to make a profit like any other business, but that your profits get reinvested into your community. So the way that we do that is by offering free or discounted sessions for people living with dementia. And basically what the social enterprise is that we support people living with dementia and their carers through music. So that's through different ways. So either delivering workshops or performances, or training and supporting carers to use music as part of their daily dementia care.
Okay. So what do you go out into the community and just provide like music services to
Yeah,
people with
so
dementia?
mainly care homes, and work in a few hospitals as well. Our kind of our sole business is providing music workshops within care settings.
Okay.
We also support people in the community. I think that's something we want to expand on once we're out of this some crazy situation at the moment.
Yeah. So how has lockdown like affected you? Because if you're going into care homes, that must limit what you can do quite considerably.
Yeah, I mean, 100% of our clients are kind of care homes, hospitals, any setting that has, closed down and won't be opening for a long time. And when they do, things will be quite different to how they were.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's impacted us massively as a business. But I think, I'm quite a positive, optimistic person. And so I'm trying to look for opportunities within this.
Okay.
So, how can we deliver sessions virtually? It's not the same at all as being face to face with that person. But right now, if we're restricted, then actually we need to start looking at different ways that we can support people. So some of our musicians are performing outside the care homes. So we're literally
Oh
bringing
wow.
the PA system, and the residents are sat in the conservatory and the musicians are playing to them. And it's not the same as having that interaction, but it's a lot better than having a CD on or that side of things. So I feel we might be working that way for quite a long time to come.
Yeah. So what
Yeah.
sort of musicians have you got? Have you got so name them, sorry.
Yeah, so complete variety. So our head office is based in Dorset, literally about 10 minutes down the road from where I live, which is great. But we operate from Cornwall to West Sussex at the moment.
Okay.
So we've got some musicians are franchisees, so they run their own sort of version of Musica as a company. Others are freelance musicians where we do the bookings for them. I think we've got around 25 musicians that work with us at the moment, a
Wow.
huge variety. So a lot of them are professional musicians that gig in the evenings and weekends, and so they've been looking for work during the day. And obviously want to use music to help the community as well. I think that's been quite a big thing, is having musicians that, you know, love performing, but actually they want to take their performances to different settings and kind of inspire other people.
Okay.
We have a few people that are like retired teachers, that then again have kind of become a bit disillusioned with maybe the current situation in teaching, especially music teaching, and they really want to be using their music for good. So yeah, they then come and join us too. And it's a certain type of personality. I think we're always saying that it's not just about the music. You know, you could be a brilliant musician, but if you can't engage with someone, or you can't, you know, have that conversation and connect with them, then you might as well have a CD on. So we kind of take people based on their kind of personality and the type of person that they are, the way they interact.
Yeah, massively. I think people work for people. People don't work for companies. So you could be working for a huge corporation, for Google, for example. But if your boss or your line manager is horrible, you'll want to leave. But on the flip side, if you're working for a very small business, but your boss is amazing and nurturing and helps develop you, then you will want to stay, and you will want to go that extra mile.
Yeah, I think that's what we've found, especially in the current situation, is, you know, we're, you know, a very small company, and obviously COVID's affected us, like I was saying, but everyone's pulling together, no matter whether you're a musician or in the admin team, we're all pulling together to think of new ways that we can keep delivering our mission and keep supporting the people we work with. And I think that's kind of testament to the type of culture that the company has.
Massively, yeah. So how do the musicians find you, or do you find them? Is there like a process, or how does it work?
It's a lot of trial and error, to be honest.
Okay.
It's going for 10 years, so I've been kind of trying different things, but I've been realizing that a lot of the time people don't know that they're even looking for this kind of opportunity. So I found that Facebook's just a great way for promoting what we do, putting out videos, showing people, you know, actually in reality how music can help people with dementia, and then just having those discussions going, and then kind of chatting to people about the fact we're looking for musicians in different areas, and, you know, we're very open. We talk about what we do in a session and that side. And so I think we often inspire people to then think, actually, this is something I could do too, even if that had never entered their mind before.
Yeah, definitely. So why music then? So why music in specific for you? Is there like, have you got a background in it, or what's the reason for music?
I do, so I started playing the clarinet when I was 12, and I loved being in that kind of world, being in like the school orchestra, that social life. Like, we traveled the world with the school orchestra. We went to like
Wow.
Venice and Disneyland Paris and stuff. It was pretty cool. And I think even from that young age, I realized how it wasn't about the music, actually. It was about that coming together. And I think I was probably about 14 when I had like my first kind of like an epiphany. Sounds like big, but like I went on like an orchestra residential weekend, and
Right.
it was probably Saturday night. It was dark outside, it was in winter, and we were all playing together. And I think I just had that, like, this is incredible, like we're all playing together, all listening to each other, and that it wasn't about the music at all, it was that coming together. So I think from that point I kind of fell in love with music. And then I went on, so when I was at Bath Spa with you, I was
Yeah.
studying music and English.
Of course, yeah.
And kind of my last year doing the dissertation was when I set up Musica. So I wrote a dissertation on music and kind of everyday life of older adults. And then obviously within that, dementia was coming up as quite a big theme. And at the same time, I started volunteering at the hospital in Bath. So I was playing my clarinet to patients, older patients, singing with them, and just suddenly realised the enormous benefits of music in dementia care. And I'm really lucky, even now, touch wood, that no one in our family has dementia. I'd never experienced it before.
Yeah.
Kind of working in that setting was it was incredible to see the transformation that music could afford.
Okay.
That's where kind of my passion with music then took me.
Yeah, no, because I definitely like relate to that, because when I started like radio presenting and presenting in general, it was just like, oh my, wow, this is like, people get paid to do this, because like to me it was just fun, and like, don't tell anyone, Rosie, but I'll do it for free.
So we can edit that out.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But I was just sitting there going, this is incredible, and I just love like just throwing myself into it and just becoming like in my own world and in my own bubble. And it's just, I think so. I definitely relate to how you look at music. So yeah.
That's so true. And I think it's, it's not just about playing music, as in playing an instrument. It is that, we can all, a lot of people say, well, I'm not musical or I can't sing. But you know, most of us, some people don't like music at all, which I'm really fascinated with.
Yeah.
But you know, most of us do love listening to music, and you just get lost. It's that kind of escaping.
Yeah, definitely. So what sort of music do you listen to? So in the car or in your free time, what sort of music do you listen to?
My taste is so eclectic. so, so a lot of the time I listen to like 90s music. I love that, like just taking me back to kind of, yeah, that time, like real cheesy stuff like S Club 7.
Oh my God, Hearsay.
Barbie Girls played all the time in our house. Venga Boys, like that
Yeah.
kind of music gets me going. But I also love like punk rock, so I love like Green Day's one of my favorite bands.
Okay.
Red Hot Chili Peppers, that kind of thing. I love like trance music. So I've been listening to like Dave Pearce has done quite a few Facebook Live. I love it. So it's on like Saturday. It's Saturday and Sunday nights. Is it like 7? So I'm there, just put the kids to bed, and I'm like raving.
So do you like, what do your kids listen to then? Do they listen to the same sort of stuff, or have they got their own style?
Well, they're kind of forced to listen to what I want. And I think that's really influenced them. So they love, like, again, like Barbie Girls played because my 3-year-old loves it. The cartoons, do you remember Witch Doctor?
No, I don't know. What's...
Oh
no, I do. A girl, a witch doctor. Oh yes.
That's played like 2 or 3 times a day in our house.
Yeah. Wow. Okay.
Ezra. That actually they ask a lot for Staying at Tamara's. They love that whole album.
Okay. Oh wow. Okay. So moving on to like the surrogacy. What was your? Why did you do it? So what was the thinking behind it?
Yes, it was something I'd always wanted to do. So even before I met John, before we'd had our own kids, I think, like, I always think it sounds really like cliche, but it came from Friends. So I love watching Friends.
Phoebe.
Yeah, knowing that Phoebe could do that, like, I think it made me realise that surrogacy was a thing, because I probably would never have known about it otherwise. So it was always in the back of my mind, and it was always a thing of, you know, if we were able to have our own children, then it would be something that I'd love to help someone else out with.
That's incredible.
So we had our 2 girls, decided that we thought that we wanted 3 children until we had our second child, and then decided that's it, no more.
Yeah.
We're not doing it again. So then she was, I'm trying to think how old she was now. She wasn't even a year. She was probably about 6 or 7 months.
Okay.
And I started to think that, actually, I'd really like to help someone out. Now's the time. So
So what's the process behind it? Is there like an organization, or because I know I know nothing about it. So what's the process?
Yeah, so it's a bit of a grey area at the moment. So I went through an organisation called Surrogacy UK, but you don't have to go through an organisation. Basically, it's illegal for a surrogate to advertise their services. Service is the wrong term, but to advertise they're there.
Yeah.
And likewise, it's illegal to advertise that you're looking for a surrogate. So it makes it really difficult. Okay. So Surrogacy UK is all about having conversations, and they're all about friendship before surrogacy. So I joined their Facebook group to just find out a little bit more information before I made the decision that this was for me. So I just got chatting on there, asking people about what it was like to be a surrogate, but also what it was like to be an intended parent. So that's the correct term for the parents.
Okay.
I still find it sounds like a really old-fashioned term, because most of the time they are the parents. But intended parents is the term at the moment. And so I just got chatting on there. And found my intended parents on one of the Facebook groups. Basically, this was before I'd even decided I wanted to go ahead with it, before I'd even spoken to John about it.
That must have been a shock.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, John.
Started having conversation with this lady called Catherine, who lived just down the road from me. She was born without a womb, so she'd always known, kind of when she was 16, she'd known she could never carry her own children.
Okay.
That her mum had been her surrogate for her first baby. So I literally just met up with her to find out what it was like from her point of view, having a mum as a surrogate, but also the whole surrogacy process. So I met up with her to kind of just get that ball rolling, find out more information. And obviously then a whole lot happened from then.
Yeah. So do you still, I don't know if it's the right way of asking, but do you still talk to that child, or is there a barrier, or?
No, so it was, what you have to do before you even go ahead with the IVF is you have to come up with an agreement between you. So that's kind of facilitated through Surrogacy UK, where you you all chat about kind of the things that you want and how you'd like it to be, because every kind of situation is going to be different. Some surrogates would rather just take a step back and not be involved. For us, it was quite a big thing that we did want to be involved afterwards. So we kind of want to be like an auntie and uncle. John's thing was that kind of they've asked us to look after their baby, while I'm pregnant. And so likewise, we want to carry on being part of that child's life and kind of, checking in that they're still kind of, happy and looked after, that kind of two-way thing. And for us, it's worked really well. Obviously, at the moment, it's rubbish. I mean, it's rubbish seeing family and but it's we can't see them properly. And obviously, she's too young to understand social distancing. So I'm like, let's just chat on the phone.
Yeah. Oh wow. Okay. Because like with the situation it is now, like I'm in the north, and my family are down in south. So it is, especially with the distance, it is hard. And I can't imagine what it must be like when you have got someone, they're just down the road, did you say?
Yeah, half an hour away.
Yeah, so it must be difficult, like not being able to see them as and when you can.
Yeah. It's really hard, and it gives you that pang in your heart a bit, because it is that, I want to be there while she's growing up. I want her to know who I am. And so it's just like, she's not aware of me right now. That was another thing that we'd kind of agreed on, was that they're going to make a book. So we've obviously taken loads of photos throughout our journey, videos and all of that. So they're going to have a book, so that when she's at an age where she'll understand, they will then kind of talk her through, where she came from and how she was helped to come into the world.
That's incredible. Like that's still like, because when I found out about that and you, I was just blown away, because I think it takes a certain type of person to do something like that. That's
I think it's a big risk. I don't think I'd quite realised how much of a risk it was until afterwards. But it is, for you as a person and your family, it's a huge thing to take on. But I think I just didn't think of it like that. It goes beyond you. It's you're creating this life, and it's a pretty amazing thing.
Yeah, that's hugely inspiring. So moving on to your like PhD. So what's that on? What you doing in that?
So I'm in sociology at the University of Exeter. And it followed on from my master's. So I was at Sheffield doing a master's in music psychology.
Okay.
And that's then where I took my dissertation from Bath Spa. I looked more at music and dementia. And so now my PhD is looking at the effects of live music on agitation in patients with dementia. So it's all kind of followed through, all links in with my social enterprise. Yeah, which is good. But I'll be 7 years in September since I started.
That is incredible. So are you nearing the end? Is it how long you are?
I'm very close. So I finally got like the first draft of my whole thesis done, and then it needs loads of work and re-editing and cutting stuff out, but it just feels good to see it all together.
Yeah. So would you go into lecturing at all, or is that something you wouldn't do?
I think I've been kind of torn over the last few years about what I want to do. I think what I'd like to carry on with is guest lecturing. So I often visit different lectures sort of in the UK. I'd like to go around the world as well eventually. But guest lecturing on music sociology and music and dementia care.
Okay.
That's the thing, because I think I get quite bored easily. I get itchy feet, and
I could tell.
I don't know what my next challenge will be.
Maybe you should like climb a mountain or something.
Surrogacy is not enough.
So so if you're getting into the nitty gritty, so if you have to explain to someone that doesn't know anything about it, i.e. me, what is music sociology? So what is it?
So it's looking at how we interact with music, so how it can support cultures, and how people use music in everyday life. So I think that's kind of a main thing. And then for me, looking at dementia, it's looking at that kind of relationship side of music, and actually, rather than just saying, music helps people, or there's some statistics to say it improves your well-being by so much %, actually it's digging down and being like, well, but how does it do that?
Okay.
And what actually happens in terms of the way people interact with music, and the way that they use music as well in different situations.
Okay, so what sort of situations could it be like remedial, or could it be like helping someone calm down? Or because I personally use music to like fall asleep. So I have like calming music just to help me relax and then help me fall asleep. Is that something you would look at?
Yeah, definitely. So with my PhD, it's more looking at like agitation and how agitation kind of in my opinion stems from like unmet like emotional needs and like unmet social needs. So especially in a hospital environment, people are quite disorientated about where they are, and they don't kind of understand the you know, the fact that the carers are busy and they can't just stop and be with you 24/7.
Okay.
And that's where kind of agitation stems from. So then I'm looking at how familiar music can help to ground that person and remind them of kind of, you know, their previous history and memories, and just helping to kind of calm down that agitation. So that's the kind of the specific side of my PhD. But in general, with music sociology, like, yes, it can, like, definitely different types of music can help with sleep. You know, it's really subjective. So to be honest, I can't stand it when there's often like a blanket thing of this type of music will help you do XYZ. So
Yeah.
you know, gale music or ocean sounds, that's going to help you go to sleep. Actually, I don't know about you, but I find I can't sleep with that kind of music.
Okay.
And likewise with working and like productivity, that it's going to kind of, yeah, what helps you individually to work and that type of music. And I think that's something I want to start looking at, is this more broader aspect of music sociology, so how we all use music in different situations.
Yeah, I guess like thinking about it now, I never sort of looked at it through that lens, because what works for me might not work for you, or might not
No,
work for someone else. So different types of music and different sort of melodies could work differently for someone else.
yeah, exactly. And I find like I can't work with music with lyrics in the background, because I'll
Okay.
start listening along to
Concentrate.
it.
Yeah. Okay.
I love working in coffee shops. So at the moment, I've been Spotify's got loads of great like coffee shop playlists.
Oh wow, really?
Like cafe, like French cafe jazz and stuff like that. It's
Wow.
really good. And I find it does kind of create that environment a little bit. And it's the same with, you know, productivity, is that I think sort of some companies are starting to pipe music into the offices.
Okay.
But actually that, you know, for some people that would be great, but actually can be it can go the other way if you're then using music that, you know, not everybody's going to work with music on in the background. Some people prefer silence,
Yeah.
or they're just not going to work to the same music. So it's, yeah, it's really fascinating working out what works for you, and kind of, yeah, don't just take research as like gold.
Yeah. Yeah.
That might just be that certain type of classical music worked for those participants, that, you know, a very select proportion of society.
Yeah. Yeah, because when I'm like sort of editing or when I'm working, I sort of like have these headphones on, and I just go into my own world, and I can't, people be talking to me, I wouldn't have a clue what they're saying. So yeah, so I totally, yeah, because at the beginning of this conversation I wouldn't have thought of it like that, but now you've said it does make sense.
Yeah, and often I think, like, because this is something I want to go more into, is kind of spreading the word about that around, like, on social media, and kind of taking the research and just putting it out there so that we can all access it. You know, it's not just academic.
Yeah.
Um, but when I started doing it, I was like, oh God, is this just going to seem really obvious? You know, everyone knows this. And it's like, actually, we don't, or we don't often think about it. You know, you just listen to what you listen to, and
Yeah.
you don't think about why. Or like in the car, you know, probably listen to different music when I'm on the motorway, when I'm going faster, than if I'm kind of pottering around the country lanes where I live.
Yeah.
Just do it out of habit.
Yeah, because I go through, again, I don't know if this is normal or not, but I go through like stages of music that I like. So I'll go through, like, you listen to like pop, then I'll go to like hip hop, and then I'll go to rock, and then I'll go to whatever. And I just go through stages, and that's what I'll listen to. So a few weeks ago, well, actually before lockdown, I was in the gym and I was listening to Hanson on Bop. And then it went to Britney Spears, and and I'm sitting there going, is this normal?
Normal for you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I guess. So how do you, like, obviously you're a busy person and you've got lots going on. So how do you manage your time? I can see you've got like a 2020 year planner just
I
behind
know.
you.
Every time I have a meeting at the moment, that just makes me laugh. I need to take it down. I think it stopped in March.
Oh, did it?
So that's it. No more.
So how do you like manage your time? How do you know you're supposed to be at X and then you're supposed to be at Y, and then after that you're supposed to be at Z. So do you have like a specific technique to use, or?
It's kind of, hit or miss. I'm a really organized person, so that's why I love doing my PhD, because it is that kind of organization. I'm obviously like quite focused, but I try and kind of block my time, like chunk my time. So in terms of when I'm booking meetings and stuff, I'm a bit rubbish at, I don't often look at the full week. I don't know if you find this, that I'll book stuff in without looking at what's happening on the days around it, and then I get to that week and I'm like, oh, this is crazy. So I need to get a bit better at that. But during the day, I try and chunk my time up. So I'll be like, the day before, I'll kind of write down, right, I'm going to spend like an hour or two on PR or on research or whatever it is, marketing. And then within that, I work in something called Pomodoro. Have you ever heard of this? The Pomodoro?
I haven't, no, what's that?
It's brilliant. So you work, so it's based on the Pomodoro timer, like the tomato timer that you get in the kitchen.
Yeah.
And you set it for 25 minutes and you work solidly on whatever that thing is for 25 minutes, turn your phone off, you get in the light bulb room.
That's what I do. I didn't know that's what it's called. And then you have 5 minutes of rest, or 5 minutes of doing what is that what it's called?
Yeah, Pomodoro Technique.
Oh my god. I didn't know that.
Really?
Rosie, I thought I invented that.
Oh, sorry. That's your bubble there.
So is that what it's called?
Yes, it's called the Pomodoro. So you do, like 25 minutes, then you have a 5-minute break, then you do another 25 minutes, and then is it every 50 minutes you're meant to take 10 minutes off or something? And I'll then go and have a dance. Like I'll literally just, let everything go. It's great. But I've got a really good app for it.
Okay.
So it's called Forest. Have you heard of it?
No. What's that?
It's really good. So basically you set your timer for 25 minutes and it grows a little tree. But if you go on anything else on your phone, like if you go on Facebook, then it will tell you that your tree's about to die.
Oh, no,
like,
okay.
I want to do this. And then you're like, oh, no, actually, I don't want to mindlessly scroll through Facebook now. I'm going to get back on with my task. It's really good. And then you get a forest. So I've been doing it for years now. And you get quite a cool forest that grows.
That's amazing. Because the technique I do is like, so I've set up like a little office downstairs and I put my phone upstairs because that is my biggest distraction. Like out of everything, that's my biggest distraction. So what I do is I sit down, put a timer on my computer for 25 minutes. And then when that 25 minutes up, I go upstairs, go on my phone, do what I need to do for 5 minutes, and then go back downstairs. But I didn't know they had a name for it.
Yeah, Pomodoro.
Pomodoro.
And I'm always like, whenever I guest lecture and stuff, so I often go back to Bar to talk to the students. And I'm always talking about Pomodoro Technique because, it's only 25 minutes. Like you can do that. And the amount of stuff you can get done is crazy.
It's incredible. Like, cause let's be honest, 25 minutes is not that long, but you can get so much done.
Yeah, so often I'll do like 2 Pomodoros a morning on my PhD. So obviously at the moment I'm doing a lot more than that. But even just doing 50 minutes a day, every day, even weekends, I find I get so much done. And then because I'm visiting it every week, every day, I'm focused on it. Whereas if I tried to do just like a whole day a week, which is what I used to do, I'd switch off and I get really tired around about kind of 2-3 o'clock. Yeah. And there's no point pushing on with it.
Definitely, yeah. So moving on, like we've been speaking for the last few weeks about getting this sort of podcast sorted, and you mentioned someone called Dr. Rock.
Yeah.
So who is Dr. Rock for those listening and watching who don't know who she is?
Yeah, so Dr. Rock is this really inspirational woman that I've just come across called Julia Jones.
Okay.
Based in London, I think. And I've just finished reading her book called The Music Diet. So I'd really recommend it to everyone. I think it's free online or you can buy it as a book. And I don't know about you, but I can't read on the computer. Even on the Kindle, sometimes I don't take it in. So I got the book and sat out in the sun a few weeks ago and it was really nice and just, read it cover to cover.
Okay.
Good stuff.
So what was the book about then? So what does she do?
Yeah, so she kind of takes all of this research around music psychology, music sociology, and kind of just collates it in ways that we can understand and ways we can relate to. So she talks about music in terms of like sports performance. So that's what I was chatting with you about, that it's something I haven't thought about before. And often you think, oh yeah, you just put on music that is kind of uplifting or motivational, but like she goes deeper into that, and it's like there's certain beats per minute that you need for different types of exercise.
Wow. Okay.
What it actually kind of does to you. So in terms of if you, like you were saying about getting lost in the music, while you're working out, if you're listening to sort of certain types of music, with this certain beat, you then can work kind of harder and faster without you even realizing.
Yeah.
Because you do get kind of lost in that. And again, it's like we're saying, you think, oh God, that's so obvious. But actually, I never think about that. And so I tried it, and I listened to some like Dave Pearce trance anthems, and I was like, yeah, actually, I did go a lot harder than I would normally.
Yeah.
But I didn't feel that tired. I feel more pumped up. And she talks about the thing that I was really interested in was, obviously at the moment I'm completely focused on music and dementia and that side of things, but she talks about looking at the risk factors for neurodegenerative conditions, and one of the biggest risks is workplace stress. So that's something that I wanted to kind of delve a bit more into after reading her book. So she's saying about, how we can be helping employees in the workplace to reduce their workplace stress, have kind of an increased social bond with the people they work with. And you can do that all through music and kind of coming together. And something that sorry, I feel I'm going off. I'm really
No. I'm fascinated. I'm just listening to you. In my head, I'm thinking, oh yeah, that is right. That is true. Yeah, but no, carry on. Sorry.
No, it's good. And so the other thing that she talks about is that a lot of my research with dementia is around using familiar music, so using music that people know and they've got memories associated with. But she says that on the other end of the spectrum, to kind of reduce risks of dementia and those kind of conditions, listen to music that's unfamiliar to you, because your brain then takes a while to process that music. It's trying to work out what it is, whether you like it, and it's also creating memories associated with that piece. So if you listen to a piece of music today, your brain is then starting to think, okay, right, maybe you're sat in your office, it's during lockdown, and then at some point in the future, you might hear that piece of music and it will take you back to today.
Yes, that's the same as so when I was in sixth form, the last song that was played before we all went to university and then did our different things was Oasis Wonderwall. So Rosie, every single time I hear that song, that just takes me back to that dance floor and takes me back to that memory.
Oh, brilliant. And that will stay with you.
Yeah.
Into later life, you will remember that memory.
Massively, yeah. And do you, just as a personal question, so I'm starting to get into sort of meditation at the moment. So do you think there's a link between meditation and music?
Yeah, there definitely is. So likewise, I've been getting into meditation a bit more. I've been doing the yoga with Adrienne.
Yeah.
But yeah, music can definitely, it depends on the type of music, but it's that kind of music that you want to kind of zone out to. So it'd be something that wouldn't be trying to think what Dr. Rock, I'm really inspired by her at the moment.
Yeah.
But, trying to think what she talks about is that you want kind of music, I think when she says about going to sleep, you want music that kind of it carries on, it's quite repetitive, there's no sudden changes in the music, there's no expectations. So film music, often they'll create an anticipation, and that
a crescendo.
Yeah, but exactly.
Yeah.
You don't want that while you're meditating. You want kind of easy to listen to instruments that kind of fade into the background a bit, things that, especially for mindfulness, you can then kind of focus inwards a bit more.
Okay, cool. So just before we end, I've got 3 questions that I wanted to ask you about the past, present, and future. So the first one's about the past. So what advice would you give a 15-year-old Rosie Mead? So what would you say to her?
Okay, so a 15-year-old Rosie Mead was, I think, trying to work out who she was, and especially with music, it was that I identify as a grunge, so I'm in this kind of grunge group, and this is what we do. And I mustn't say that I also like hip hop, because that's not cool.
Yeah.
And so I think I want to just say to her, be yourself, embrace who you are and your individuality. Don't feel that you've got to fit into this neat little box, because no one does.
Yeah.
And don't kind of label yourself.
I think there's a lot of people that I've interviewed and spoke to, and there's a few people who have said that's what I say to my 15-year-old self. I would say just be yourself. Don't do X, Y, or Z because your friends are doing it. Do it because you want to do it.
Yeah.
So I think that's a huge advice. And I've got so the youngest of my younger sisters is 15. at the moment, and that's what I'm trying to tell her. Like, don't do something because like your friends or family, even me, to some extent, like don't do something because they do something because you want to, and because it feels right.
Yeah, I think that's so true. And just to have the confidence, you know, go with your with your instinct, and yeah. But it's, you know, hindsight's a great thing.
Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah, because like I didn't listen to anyone when I was 15, so I feel like sort of hypocritical saying to her like this you should be yourself, but you know, it's all a learning curve.
Yeah, the reason we're all saying this is because we've been there. But yeah, when you're a 15-year-old, you can't relate to your big brother like back in 15, like.
So moving on to the question about present. So given the choice of any 3 people in the world, so dead or alive, who would you have as a dinner guest and why? So you're allowed to have anyone. So it's Rosie Mead and then 3 other people. Who would you have? Who would you go for?
I'm gonna make sure they all get on as well. So I reckon Michelle Obama. So I just finished reading Becoming. I want to watch Netflix as well.
Yeah.
Like, she'd be incredible. Like, I'd love to just sit with her. I think just being in her presence.
Yeah, I must say she's a very, 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 especially to the people I speak to at the moment, she's a very, very popular person to have as a dinner guest. I think you're the 4th or 5th person to say her.
Aww,
but I understand. I completely understand why. Like I'm the opposite to you. So I haven't read her book, but I have seen the Netflix sort of series that she's done, and it is like incredible. Like she goes on this book tour and she talks to different communities and different people, and it is just inspiring. So so I give you a massive tick to Michelle Obama. I agree.
Good. Who would my other person be?
Yeah. So who else would you have? So you got you, Michelle. Sorry.
Oh, sorry. Interrupting you. You go.
No, I was just saying. So you got you and you got Michelle Obama. Who else would you have?
Cool. So I think I got to have someone music related.
Okay.
It's a really hard one. There's so many. I think David Bowie.
Oh, great show.
He's an icon, and like the world's a worse place for him not being here anymore. Yeah. And I often listen to his music. We've got John's mum gave us a big box of vinyls, and she's got some of his old stuff. We've got like a Ziggy Stardust album, and it's just, and I love playing it on vinyl because it's like, oh, that's how it was meant to be.
Yeah. Isn't the sound quality better on vinyl, or have I just made that up?
I'm not sure. So you get the crackles, and I must admit we've got quite an old record player, so I don't know if that's better or worse because it does crackle quite a bit.
Yeah.
But I just love it, and I love having like that sleeve, like, and looking through it and being like, this is how it was published, or like released. It's fine having stuff on Spotify, and it's amazing the amount of stuff we can access.
Yeah.
Listening to things that like as they were intended.
Yeah,
so David Bowie would be a pretty amazing guest.
Yeah, I'm the same as you. Like you were speaking earlier about having like a physical copy of a book, not a Kindle or something. And I like the satisfaction of turning a page.
Yeah, and when you get to the end of it as well, it's like you can feel that you've got to the end rather than it just saying like 100%. It's like, it's not the same.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So we've got Rosie Mead, we've got Michelle Obama, we've got David Bowie. You've got one more space at the dinner table. Who would you go for?
Oh, who would I go for? So my other big passion is rugby, and when I was at uni I used to referee men's games.
Yes, you did. Yeah. So
I feel I've got to have someone from the rugby world, and at the moment I love James Haskell. I've always loved James Haskell. Like, he's such a lad. I love watching his YouTube stuff, and he's doing a lot at the moment. Like, he's doing like lockdown diaries with like him and Chloe, and I reckon he'd be pretty fun at the dinner table too.
Yeah, awesome. That sounds like a good party. So you've got Michelle Obama, you've got David Bowie, and James Haskell.
Yeah, I reckon a good mix. I think we'd all get on as well. Be all right.
Awesome. And then just to end things, a quick question on the future. So where do you see yourself in 10 years' time? So what will Rosie Mead be doing in 2030?
So 2030, I will be coming up to 42. The kids will be teenagers, which is crazy to think about. We have a 15 and a 13-year-old. That would be fun. So I think if you'd asked me this before lockdown, I'd have told you like a rigorous plan for the business and where it was going to be and the amount of money we'd make and reinvest. But actually, I think lockdown's taught me, plans like that can easily just go out the window if there's a sudden change in circumstance.
Yeah.
I'm trying to go with the flow a bit more. So I think I'm going to go a bit beyond the business, and it would be more about, you know, being a role model for my girls. They're going to be at that time, like we've just been talking about kind of their identity and that, you know, the whole secondary school world. And so I think I want to be a good role model for them, making sure that, you know, they know that you can follow your dream, you know, go with your instinct, do what makes you feel happy. And so, yeah, I think as long as we're all happy, healthy, well, that's, yeah, I feel like a good job's done in 10 years time.
That's amazing. I can't think of a perfect way to end. Thank you, Rosie.
Great. Thanks so much, Val.